When watching a classic film, we often remember the characters, the famous lines, and the unforgettable moments. But few stop to think about the lives of those standing behind the screen. They were once familiar faces in millions of households, creating timeless works. Yet their journeys contain far more fascinating details than audiences ever saw. Today, join us as we explore the stories behind these Hollywood legends. Who impressed you the most? Share your thoughts below, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our latest stories. Some actors don't need frequent appearances to leave a lasting impression on the audience. Peter Lorre was one such face. With his expressive eyes, distinctive voice, and a style that brought psychological depth to his characters, he carved out a unique image during the golden age of cinema.
As the newspapers imply a certain relationship between that unfortunate the man Thursby. Beg your pardon.
From the 1931 film M to masterpieces like Casablanca and The Maltese Falcon, Lorre proved that an artist's appeal lies not just in leading roles, but in the ability to make every character unforgettable. Peter Lorre's journey in Hollywood took place during an era when studios exerted tight control over an actor's image. He quickly became recognized for his roles as mysterious, complex, or somewhat eccentric characters. This was both an advantage and a limitation, as the film industry often wanted him to stick to his established persona rather than explore a wider range of roles. Alongside career challenges, Lorre also faced personal and health struggles in his later years.
Oh, you object to the kind of business I do, huh? But think of all if I didn't help them. Well, that's not so bad. Through ways of my own,
As the film market evolved, opportunities for many artists of previous generations began to dwindle. Although he no longer appeared as frequently as he did during his peak, he continued to work and left behind many highly acclaimed performances. Looking back at Peter Lorre's life, what remains is not just the hardship behind the glamour, but a unique artistic legacy. He demonstrated that in cinema, a distinct style can be an artist's greatest asset, ensuring they are remembered across generations. Millions of viewers knew George Jefferson, but behind that famous television character was Sherman Hemsley, an actor who spent years building his career before achieving major success. With his natural acting ability to emphasize through expressions and iconic voice, Hemsley turned a sitcom character into a staple of American television memory. Before gaining widespread fame, Sherman Hemsley spent many years active in theater. His career breakthrough came when he joined All in the Family as George Jefferson, a character that later spun off into its own series, The Jeffersons. The show quickly gained attention for its portrayal of family success and the shifting social landscape of America. Hemsley's value lay not just in the character's humor, but in his ability to convey a multifaceted image. George Jefferson was confident, ambitious, and sometimes controversial, yet he reflected the upward mobility of a new generation. This role solidified Hemsley as one of the most memorable faces of 1970s and 1980s television. After The Jeffersons ended, his career didn't maintain the same level of influence. Like many TV actors, Hemsley had to adapt to a constantly changing entertainment industry. However, the legacy he left remains clear: a character with enduring vitality and an artist who contributed unforgettable moments to the small screen. Were you impressed by the character of George Jefferson and Sherman Hemsley's career? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and share which TV character you remember most. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more fascinating stories about other Hollywood legends. Robert Blake was one of the few artists who witnessed Hollywood's evolution across multiple generations. He entered the entertainment industry as a child, grew up alongside American cinema, and continued to be active as television flourished. Blake's journey reflects the transformation of an industry in constant flux. Starting with child roles, Blake gradually built his experience and established himself through various projects. Major success came with his role as Tony Beretta in the 1970s TV series Beretta. This character earned him widespread recognition and made him a prominent face on the small screen at the time. What was unique about Robert Blake's career was that he didn't just experience a single period of fame. He saw the transition from the old studio system to the modern television era, while also experiencing shifts in how audiences perceived artists. However, the final years of his career were heavily impacted by legal issues involving his personal life, significantly altering his public image. Despite the different chapters of Robert Blake's life, it is undeniable that he had an extensive journey in entertainment. From a child actor to a TV star, his story shows that an artistic career is shaped by many factors: talent, timing, opportunity, and events beyond the screen. Looking at 1940s Hollywood posters, many would remember Hedy Lamarr as one of the most prominent actresses of that era. But behind the image of a screen siren was a person with a special passion for science and innovation. While audiences knew her for films like Algiers or Samson and Delilah, Lamarr was quietly researching and developing technical ideas that would later be seen as influential to modern communication technology. During her time in Hollywood, Lamarr achieved great fame for her beauty and screen presence. However, like many actors of the studio-controlled era, she was primarily perceived through the image presented to the cameras. Her intellectual contributions and creative abilities received little attention early on, as the entertainment industry often prioritized exploiting a star's image over their hidden talents. Beside her acting career, Hedy Lamarr's personal life underwent many changes. Marriages, professional decisions, and the shifting landscape of Hollywood made her path behind the glamour more complex. Once she was no longer at the center of the film industry, she gradually withdrew from the public eye and lived a more private life. Today, Hedy Lamarr is viewed through a more holistic lens. She was not only a beauty icon of classic Hollywood, but also a woman with a creative mind and a spirit of discovery. Her story serves as a reminder that an artist's value sometimes extends far beyond what the audience sees on screen. Some laughter lasts longer than the era that created it. Oliver Hardy was one such artist. Alongside Stan Laurel, he formed one of the most famous comedy duos in cinematic history. The image of a man with a calm demeanor, humorous expressions, and seamless chemistry with his partner became a staple memory for many generations. During the transition from silent films to talkies, Laurel and Hardy emerged as a unique phenomenon. Their simple stories refined situational comedy, and the contrast between the two characters allowed them to win over audiences worldwide. However, behind that success was a film industry very different from today's, where actors often did not own long-term rights to the works they helped create. As television grew and old films were reintroduced to new generations, the value of Laurel and Hardy's work became increasingly solidified. However, the business model of that time meant many artists did not receive a fair share of the long-term success of their work. For Hardy, his later years were challenging as his health declined, affecting his ability to continue performing. Even though life after stardom didn't resemble the glamorous image often associated with stars, Oliver Hardy's legacy is preserved through the laughter he left behind. He is proof that an artist can create value that transcends time, even when the conditions behind the scenes are not always favorable. Was Oliver Hardy's laughter a part of your childhood? Share your favorite film or funniest moment in the comments. If these timeless values resonate with you, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so we can explore more profound cinematic stories together. Imagine a classic horror character whose mere image instantly brings a face to mind. For many, Dracula is inseparable from Bela Lugosi. His role in the 1931 film Dracula turned him into a horror icon, creating an image that remains celebrated decades later. Before coming to Hollywood, Lugosi had a theater career in Europe and gradually built a name for himself in acting. When he took on the role of Count Dracula, he brought a distinct style, calm, mysterious, and charismatic. The film's success made him a prominent figure, but it inadvertently pigeonholed him in the horror genre in the eyes of both audiences and studios. Following Dracula's success, Lugosi struggled to broaden his range. Hollywood often sought him out for similar roles, rather than offering opportunities to showcase his skills in other genres. As audience tastes shifted, major opportunities dwindled, preventing his career from developing in the direction he desired. In his final years, Lugosi continued to work as much as he could, leaving a unique mark on cinema history. Today, he is remembered not just as the man who played Dracula, but as an artist who helped define the image of horror on the big screen. Bela Lugosi's story illustrates how a role can be both a career's greatest breakthrough and the shadow an artist must strive to escape. There was a time when Mickey Rooney was not just a famous actor, but an icon for an entire generation of Americans. Starting as a young performer, he appeared on screen with extraordinary energy and a natural talent for singing, dancing, and acting. In an era when major studios like MGM could create global stars, Rooney quickly became one of the most beloved faces. He represented the image of a talented young artist who could captivate audiences with his charm and screen vitality. His career breakthrough came from the Andy Hardy series, where he played a relatable young man who easily won over the audience. The success of these films made him one of the most influential stars of the late 1930s and early 1940s. However, behind that golden era was a Hollywood system very different from today. Many actors back then worked under studio contracts for fixed salaries and often lacked long-term rights to works that continued to generate value for years. As Hollywood entered a transition phase, Rooney had to face the reality that the young star image he had built no longer fully fit the new market.
Oh, he was outstanding.
What stood out in your mind? Was there any...
That Jeff Bridges, as you know, won, and Sandra Bullock.
He ventured into various fields, from theater and television to more mature film roles. Although he was no longer at the center of the industry, Rooney maintained his love for the craft and continued to appear before the public for decades. His journey reflects the evolution of an entire industry where artists must constantly find ways to adapt to the times. Alongside his incredibly long career, Rooney's personal life also went through many stages. Life choices, relationships, and financial management issues all affected his stability in later years. However, looking back at his entire journey, what stands out most is the resilience of an artist who dedicated nearly his entire life to the stage and screen. Mickey Rooney was not just a star that once shone brightly. He was a living witness to Hollywood's development over many generations. If there are cinematic moments that become the collective memory of generations, Judy Garland singing "Over the Rainbow" in The Wizard of Oz is certainly one of them. To the audience, she was a symbol of innocence, talent, and emotion. But behind the brilliant screen image is the story of an artist who entered the entertainment industry very early and had to grow up under the public eye. Judy Garland joined MGM as a teenager and quickly became one of the studio's most vital talents. She possessed an extraordinary voice, emotionally rich acting skills, and a natural charisma that made it easy for audiences to empathize with her. The success of The Wizard of Oz cemented Garland's name in American cinematic history. However, the Hollywood environment of that time also placed immense pressure on young actors, as their image, schedule, and career direction were tightly controlled by the studios. After many years with MGM, Garland began seeking her own path outside the traditional studio system. She continued to achieve great success on stage, particularly in live performances. Garland's concerts showed that her appeal never faded, even when she wasn't regularly in front of the camera. Audiences still sought her out for her voice and an emotional delivery that few artists could match. However, maintaining a peak career for a long time was never easy. Professional pressure, health issues, and personal life changes created many complex periods in her journey. Nevertheless, Judy Garland is still remembered as one of the most influential artists of the 20th century. Her legacy lies not just in her famous films or songs, but in her ability to touch the emotions of millions. Behind Judy Garland's brilliant glamour were hidden depths of resilience that not everyone understood. Which role or song of hers moved you the most? Please leave a comment and share your feelings. If this video brought you meaningful insights, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so we can continue connecting through profound artistic stories. On stage, Sammy Davis Jr. always appeared with an energy that made it hard for audiences to look away. He could sing, dance, act, and command the performance space with a special confidence. But Davis's journey to becoming one of America's most famous entertainers was not just a story of talent. It was a journey of breaking through the limits of his era. Born into a family of performers, Sammy Davis Jr. was exposed to the stage from a very young age. He quickly developed his performance skills and spent much of his youth touring. As an adult, Davis expanded into various fields, from music and film to television. His career reached its zenith in the 1960s when he became a prominent face in Las Vegas and a key member of the Rat Pack alongside Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. Beyond artistic success, Sammy Davis Jr. held great significance in the American social context of the time. He worked in an entertainment industry where many barriers still existed for black artists, but through talent and perseverance, he carved out his own place. Davis's performances were not only entertaining, but also helped change the public's perception of the capabilities and standing of black artists on the grand stage. However, behind an expansive career were significant responsibilities. Maintaining the image of a top artist, managing a grueling performance schedule, and balancing many aspects of life were challenges Davis also had to face. Despite going through difficult times, he left a substantial legacy in American entertainment history. Sammy Davis Jr. is remembered as a versatile artist who spent his life exploring his own limits. An image can become an icon in just a few years, but maintaining that place in history is a different story. Veronica Lake is a prime example. With her signature peekaboo blonde hair covering one eye, she created a widely recognized style in the 1940s and became one of the quintessential faces of classic Hollywood. Lake began to draw attention through films like This Gun for Hire and Sullivan's Travels. Beyond her striking looks, she demonstrated acting prowess in roles with depth and character. During her peak, Veronica Lake's image appeared in numerous magazines and posters, becoming a source of fashion inspiration for many women. She was a testament to how Hollywood could transform an actor into a cultural icon. However, the film industry is always changing. After World War II, audience tastes shifted, the old studio system evolved, and many once famous stars had to find ways to adapt. For Lake, maintaining her position in Hollywood was no longer as easy as before. Career shifts combined with personal issues made her artistic path more challenging. Although her later years were not like her initial glory days, Veronica Lake still holds a special place in popular culture. Her image continues to be recalled as an icon of 1940s Hollywood. Lake's story shows that fame and entertainment is always tied to the times, and even major icons must face the relentless flow of time. When Dorothy Dandridge stepped onto the stage and screen in the 1950s, she wasn't just pursuing a personal career. She appeared during an era when Hollywood was gradually changing. In 1954, she became the first African-American woman to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in Carmen Jones. That achievement marked a significant milestone in film history. Dandridge possessed many outstanding talents. She could act, sing, and command the stage, which helped her become one of the most noticed artists of the time. Her performances received high praise from audiences and critics alike. However, Dandridge's success occurred during a period when Black artists still faced many limitations in accessing major roles and long-term development opportunities. Despite reaching a position very few could at that time, Dandridge still had to make many difficult career choices. She wanted to be seen as a true actor rather than just a symbolic figure, but the industry then wasn't always ready to expand commensurate opportunities. Professional pressures and personal issues affected her later journey. Today, Dorothy Dandridge is recognized not just for the films she starred in, but for her role as a trailblazer. She proved her talent in an era of many barriers and inspired future generations of artists. Her story is a reminder that sometimes an artist's greatest value lies not only in personal success, but in the doors they help open for the future. A chapter of Hollywood has closed, but stories of cinematic icons always hold more to discover. Every role, every moment on screen hides a journey behind it that not everyone knows. Thank you for looking back at these special stories with us. Let us know which character made you think the most after today's video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future stories about the legends who made history.